Thank you very much. So hi everyone, I'm Simaya. I'm a product manager in the area of Sentinel and XDR. And in the past year, I was running the Unified Security Operations Platform program, especially focusing on the areas of complex orgs, which are multiple workspaces and multiple tenants.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. Great to have you all here. I'd like to also introduce myself. So my name is Neelam Nursee. I am also a product manager in the Sentinel and Unified Security Operations platform space. And I work specifically on the customer experience side of things. And I just before we hit off the agenda, I just wanted to say, first of all, it's been a long journey, and we know that many of our customers and partners were eagerly waiting for this, and now we're finally in public preview. And so we are delighted to bring you the multi-workspace experience in the unified SecOps platform, and also taking a moment to thank our private community members, customers, partners for the valuable insights and feedback. Like it was mentioned a few seconds ago, we will not cover any future releases in this presentation, but if you're interested to learn more about these, please join our security community program using the link at the bottom of the slide here. So let's head into our agenda. So we will kick off by first showing the fundamentals of multi-workspace in Defender. This is quite new, so we will go a bit through the fundamentals. Then we will go through the single tenant approach. So we will have multi-workspace for single tenant. We will show you some new demos, some new features. We'll show you some use cases and best practices and go through some frequently asked questions that we have specifically for single tenant. Then we'll cover the multi-workspace for multi-tenants, and we will cover how you can manage at scale using the multi-tenant organization or MTO portal and multi-workspace. We will go through some use cases and best practices and some frequently asked questions specifically for multi-tenants. Then we will cover some limits, considerations that we have across the different experiences. Okay, so let's head into the fundamentals. So first of all, we have why do we need a multi-workspace? So it provides a single pane of glass. So the multi-workspace architecture provides access to all your workspace's data in one view without switching blades or using multiple tabs. So this enables like a central monitoring, configuration, and management for the global SOC. The second one we have, and it's new, it's the workspace selector across Sentinel experiences. And this new functionality allows you to choose the workspace that you want to work from within the Sentinel experiences in the Defender portal. The third one here, we have filtering options, and here you have the ability to add the workspace selection filters within the incidents and alert queues, which we are going to show you shortly. The fourth one here is keeping data boundaries. So data remains separate across workspaces. Users can only access the workspace where they have the relevant permissions. There is bidirectional sync between the Defender portal and the Azure portal, and also important to highlight that each workspace is an island, and we only sync the data that is relevant to the workspace. We will go through this during the presentation. And the last bullet point here is permissions. Super important also, permissions defined in Azure are not changed in the Defender portal. So whatever permissions you had in Azure portal is now going to change. So let's head into some of the new features that we have. Let's go first through the primary works and secondary workspaces. So Simaya, over to you.
Thanks, Neelam. So today I would like to introduce you a new concept in the integration between Sentinel and XDR for multi-workspace customers and its primary and secondary workspaces. Primary workspaces basically acts like single workspace in the unified platform for those who are familiar with. Primary workspace is a workspace that's mainly used by the global SOC. This is what we really recommend. customers to do. And it is the workspace where the XDR connector is connected to, meaning all the Defender incidents and alerts from all the workloads are syncing to this workspace. And the XDR correlation engine correlates its data along with Defender data as well. It means that alerts from primary workspace are synced with alerts and incidents from the Defender workloads and creating a full attack story that way. So we are integrating all the Sentinel data along with Defender data. And one important thing to mention, one primary workspace must always be connected for a tenant. The second concept is secondary workspace. So secondary workspace is the workspace where the data is correlated with itself. It means that the alerts that are being created based on the data that the workspace contains, so the secondary workspace contains, and the correlation engine correlates them into incidents. And one more thing important to mention before I show an example, primary workspace does not sync other workspace data. We keep the data boundaries between them, as Neelam said. Primary workspace only syncs the XDR level data, the Defender level data, and other secondary workspace syncing themselves. So any change you do in one portal is synced back to the other portal, but we are not mixing data between workspaces. I want to show an example of how it looks like. So for example, this is a screen from the settings page. In the settings page, we can see all the workspaces that are in my organization, in my tenant, those who are connected, those who are not, and which one is the primary. We see here that Barak test is the primary one. He is connected, and other workspaces that connected considered secondaries. Let's see another example of how primary workspace acts. So here I marked in blue the primary workspace incidents. We see here that Barak test has two incidents associated with the workspace, with the primary workspace. The first one is the service source, or the product name is Microsoft Sentinel. So it means that this incident is created based on the workspace data. But the second incident, the multi-stage incidents, is a correlation between Microsoft Defender XDR and Microsoft Sentinel. It means that it contained alerts from the Sentinel workspace, from the primary workspace, and also from Defender data. And XDR correlation engine correlate them together. In green, in the incident that marked as green, is incident that is example for secondary workspace. So U6 test is a secondary workspace. We see that the product name and the service source is Microsoft Sentinel, and it means that this incident is correlated only with the secondary workspace alerts. Neelam, over to you.
Yes, so let's go through some new features, and for that we have some pre-recorded demos for you. So let's head into the first one, which is on incidents and alerts, view and filter. So here we want to show you the alerts queue specifically, and that you can see the apologies, like it's a bit blurry here, but it's going to get better. So you can view alerts from the different workspaces in a unified queue, or filter by workspace by adding the workspace filter. And here we're going to select like one of the workspaces, and you can see the alerts showing up with like within that workspace. So the second use case that we have is on the bidirectional sync. So we wanted to highlight that we have an incident, for instance, in the Sentinel experience in the Azure portal, and we open it in the Defender portal. And here we want to assign an owner to it for the incident. And we go ahead and save it, and it will say it's updated successfully. And now we head back into the Azure portal. We can see that the owner has been updated. Just to add here, in the context of the primary workspace, if you make changes to the status, the closing reason, owner assignment in the Defender portal, it will update the incident in the Azure portal and vice versa. And in the context of the secondary workspace, all alerts and incidents that you create for a secondary workspace are synced between that workspace and the Azure and Defender portals. And also the data in a workspace is only synced to the workspace in the other portal. So super important to mention this. The third use case that we have here is the entity page, the unified entity page. And here we'll go ahead and search for an IP. Just to say that the global search at the top of the browser page here in the Defender portal provides an aggregated view of all the relevant workspace data that you have permissions to view. So let's go ahead and click that. And here you can see all the relevant entity data from multiple workspaces in a single entity page. So entity page aggregates the alerts, incidents, and timeline events from all the workspaces to provide the deeper insights into entity behavior. And if you go into the Sentinel tabs here, it will show you the events based on the workspace that you have selected. The third one is advanced hunting, and here there are two components. You can select a workspace from the top right-hand side of the browser and hunt based on that workspace, or you can also use you can query across multiple workspaces using the workspace operator. In the query and the query results, actually, if you use the workspace operator, it will not show workspace name or ID, but in this example, we added it to the query itself so that it shows the workspace name in the results, as you can see in the video. Some capabilities are limited currently to the primary workspace, and that includes creating custom detections. The other use case we want to show is the workspace selector across the different Sentinel experiences. And in this example, we're in the content hub. Sorry, it's a bit blurry. And here we can see the content deployed across different workspaces. So we are going to select the primary one. Actually, no, we're selecting the secondary one here, and you can see how the content changes accordingly. So this one is the SOC optimization, and we wanted to surface that one, which shows recommendations and insights for the SOC in the multi-workspace context. And here we can see the data and recommendations are aggregated from different from the multiple workspaces highlighted in the blue box here. I think we have covered the use cases, so over to you, Simaya.
Thanks. So Neelam presented all the new features and the demos, and we now want to show you a use case and best practice of how to act and give you an example of how a SOC analyst can work on all these new features. So I'll present the use case. Let's say that my company has multiple subsidiaries, and each has its own workspace, and I'm an analyst in the global SOC of this company where I can see all the full tenant view. As part of the global SOC, as an analyst, I want to enter the incident page, view all the incidents from all the workloads and all the workspaces, and that I have permission to see, of course. And I want to filter based on the highest severity. So I want to investigate the high severity incident that I have. So I'm filtering based on severity, and then I open the first incident in the page. From here, I can investigate the incident itself. I can see the associated alerts, and here, when I go to the alert button, I can see all the data on the alerts, and I want to see why these alerts were correlated together and what are the service sources. So I can just say that I can look and see that the detection source is from custom detections or scheduled detections, and that the product name is from Microsoft Sentinel, Microsoft Defender XDR, and that the correlation reason was same user credentials. I want to learn more about the impact user. I see that this is marked, this incident is tagged with critical asset, and I see that the correlation engine is based on the user. So I want to see the assets that are impacted. And for this, I'm going to the asset button, and then I'm opening the user page. I can see that this entity is associated with one device, and I would like to continue in my investigation on this device. First, I want to also take an action because I see this user is compromised with privileged Entra PIM roles, so I'm marking this as confirm user compromised to take action. Now, let's say that I found out that this device that associated with this user has talked to a suspected IP, and I want to check if this IP is related to more workspaces or more devices in my organization. So I open in the advanced handling page and I'm running a cross workspace query using this workspace operator. And based on the results, I decided to create a detection rule. I can use two ways to create detection rules today. So I can use the custom detection to create a detection rule, which only applies today on primary workspace, or I can use analytic rules that we are already familiar with and create a detection rule and export to other workspaces. So let's say that I decided to create an analytic rule and export it to other workspaces. So I'm creating the analytic rule, the detection rule here, and then I click on export and I can change on the workspace selector to the other workspace. And then once I'm choosing the other workspace, I can just import the rule and apply the rule on the secondary workspace itself. Of course, we have a lot of other ways to do so, and a lot of other ways to distribute this rule or to apply this rule on other workspaces. And these are through the APIs and through repositories. And repositories we will cover later in a use case. So for now, we finished the use case and the best practice, and I want to pause and present some of the frequently asked questions for multi-workspace for single tenant. These questions we received prior to this webinar, so thank you for those who shared them. And I want to go over the questions. So the first topic was primary versus secondary. And does secondary workspace get XDR capabilities? Yes, secondary workspace gets XDR capabilities. It means that the XDR correlation engine and the alert correlation is working for secondary workspace. It's just working on the secondary workspace data and not including Defender data as well. But other capabilities, all the XDR capabilities, apply on secondary workspace as well. Is there anything primary can do or has done to the and that the secondary do not? No, primary and secondary mostly have all the features except for custom detections today that only applied on primary. But other than that, they can do everything the same. Will data from one workspace be synced to the other workspace? No, we're keeping the data boundaries. Each workspace is an island, as we said before, and no data is correlated or synced back to other workspace. And why does Defender data correlates only with primary workspace and not secondary? This is because we want to keep the data boundaries. We don't want to correlate data from primary workspace to secondary workspace. And also because according to what we know, primary workspace usually is used by the global SOC. Global SOC usually is the SOC that can see tenant level data and see Defender data. And this is why we're correlating Defender data with primary workspace where there is a visibility across the whole tenant and not the secondary. And another question is for permissions and access. Will all users in my organization have access to the all workspace in the Unified Security Operations Platform? No, they will only have access to the workspace that they already have access to. And can I still access my environment in Azure? Yes, of course, you can still use the environment in Azure. You can go there and there is the bidirectional sync that promises you that you will see all the updates that were made in the Unified Security Platform and vice versa. In the Unified Security Platform, you will see the updates that made in Azure. Neelam, do we have more questions?
Yes, we have a very interesting one here. Let me voice it out. So we want to split our Defender data between two workspaces using a data collection rule, as we do not want it all in one workspace. Some device data needs to be stored separately. So if the secondary workspace will have the Defender XDR connector turned off, does this prevent us doing this, or is it still possible to connect it back up and implement DCR rules to filter it?
So you can't connect the XDR connector, and you can't connect the other workloads connector to the secondary workspace, but what you can do is still save your Defender data, like you do in extended retention tables, for example. You can still save the raw data itself, all the XDR tables, to the secondary workspace as well. So this should work.
Okay, that was the one question we had.
Great. So moving on to multi-workspace for multiple tenants. Here we're going to cover how you can leverage multiple workspaces and multiple tenants to manage at scale in the organization. We will present all the capabilities that we have and we present and that we are offering. We're going to take a use case and best practice and show you how you can operate in multi-tenant and frequently asked questions like we did now. So let's start with how to manage at scale using MTO, and MTO, it's multi-tenant and multi-workspace, using several capabilities, the UI, the API, and the code. So our unified security operations platform provide manage at scale tools in different areas. We know that many multi-tenant organizations and partners are managing their tenants and customers at a different scale. This is why we have different manage at scale capabilities that will suit you best. For example, if you're a small or medium amount of tenants to manage, or you're a partner who manages small, medium amount of customers, you may want to use our APIs, our UI. And our UI contains the multi-tenant management portal. This is the MTO portal, which we will soon cover. Tenant groups, which will allows you to distribute content, and Workspace Manager, which is in Azure. If you build your own capabilities, for example, then API will be the best approach for you. And if you are using CI/CD process, then you can use code here as well. And if you are managing at large scale, we know that you will not go and do all these operations in the UI, but API and code will suit you best. Let's start with the API, with the UI. So in the UI, I want to introduce you the multi-tenant portal. We have here at the bottom of the slide the link to the multiple tenant portal. It's important to mention this is a different portal from the single tenant one. So for multiple tenant portal, it's the one interface to manage them all. Here is the place that you can that enables you to see a single pane of glass across all tenant security operations, all incidents and alerts from all Defender products, and all Sentinel data from all tenants and all workspaces, centralized in one place. So everything here is centralized for you to keep you or to give you the best possible way, an easier way to manage everything. So, and another thing that's important to mention here, that we don't only show tenants that has the Defender suite or the Defender workloads. We also support Sentinel-only customers. It means that if you are an MSSP, for example, or you are a multi-tenant customer that has one of the tenants or one of the customers has only Sentinel in their tenant, then you are still able to see here in this view the incidents and alerts from the Sentinel, from the tenant that has only Sentinel. And also you're able from here to run queries across this tenant with Sentinel only. And one important thing, or one important point to mention, we respect existing data boundaries between tenants and between Sentinel workspaces. So there are no data between tenants that transfers. Let's take a use case in the UI, and I want to present to you. It's going to be a really similar use case to what we discussed in single tenant. I want to present you a use case using the UI for investigation experience. So, hi, I'm Simaya. I'm still an analyst in the SOC, and I want to be able to view all my incidents from all the tenants that I'm managing in one place. So I'm going to incidents, and I can see that the severity of each security event and start investigating the first one. Opening the incident page and going over all the related alerts. the graph and the associated assets. In the incident, I can see that an alert that one of the tenants' devices talked to a suspected IP like before. And I want to look for other devices from all the tenants that I'm managing and see who else talked with this IP. I can just use the advanced hunting and run query across all my tenants and see who else talked with this IP. And let's say that I'm suspecting this IP as an IOC and I want to create a detection rule that will trigger alert on all of my tenants. So I can just simply create a detection rule in custom detections and then distribute it to all my tenants using the tenant group feature. So we have here the tenant group feature that I can create tenant groups and add all the tenants that I'm managing into it, and then simply select the detection rules that I want to apply and apply it very easily to all of my tenants at once. Now all of my tenants are protected. Neelam?
Yes. So continuing on the managing at scale. So this time we are stepping outside the UI experience, so outside the portal experience, and leveraging APIs to manage the SOC operations. So the experience using APIs for Sentinel features is not changing. So everything remains the same. So there is coverage across all the features. So like here, for example, we can see you can manage your incidents with API, with a ticketing system or an MSSP internal platform. You can also enrich your data by API with external supporting data, or like we saw in the UI, so you can distribute your content to multiple tenants. So whatever you need, we have APIs, which is well documented. So let's go through the first one, which is the incident synchronization. So you can sync incidents, like I just mentioned, with a central ticketing management system, such as ServiceNow or an MSSP internal platform. The second one is incident enrichment, and you can use Incidents API to automatically update incidents owner and priority. You can also enrich the incidents with external supporting data. The third one is on content management, so you can automate the distribution and update of your SIEM content, such as analytics roles, using the APIs. And data management, collection, and query. So with the log ingestion APIs, you can have more flexibility in data acquisition and transformation and use the data in other systems, for example, machine learning. If you have specific use cases outside of what is mentioned here, we would love to hear about it. So if you would like to connect through our security connection program to share all these with us. Now into managing at scale, but leveraging code. So multi-tenant orgs can also use the CI/CD process to manage content using repositories to export templates, rule testing, etc. Like I mentioned, repositories like GitHub or Azure DevOps can be used to manage your security content with a CI/CD pipeline that can be used to distribute content across multiple workspaces and tenants. So let's say I manage 20 customers and I tested my detection rule in my testing environment, and I decide that my rule is mature enough and I want to push it to all my tenants. So let's see how this flows in the next slide. I can export my JSON template and either import it to another tenant and then, of course, use it with the UI experience. But if I have a good CI/CD process and I don't want to rely on the UI or the portal experience, I can also use it to manage my content from within my repository outside of the portal. Another way to distribute content is to use the repositories feature. And here I am specifically referring to the repositories menu under content management in Sentinel within the unified portal. And it enables me to connect my GitHub and sync all the analytics rules version automatically to all my tenants. Important to note here, repositories is only accessible from the Defender single tenant portal, but it applies to multi-tenant deployments as well, and for Sentinel content only. Super important, we want to go through some limit considerations. So how many workspaces are supported in the Defender portal? This is 100, so 1 primary and 99 secondary workspaces. How many tenants are supported in the MTO portal? It's 100. And how many cross-workspace queries can be referenced in a single query? This is 20. And
Thanks, Steve.
over to you for some FAQ. Yeah.
Thanks. So here as well, we'll present the FAQ that we received prior to this webinar for multi-workspace for multi-tenants. And the first one was access. Delegated access required for MSSPs. So today we support 2 delegated access protocols. The first one is B2B to access the Defender portal, and the Defender data for other tenants. And the second one is Azure Lighthouse for accessing Sentinel data from your other tenants. And why do we need Azure Lighthouse? And this is in order to run cross workspace queries or apply content through multiple tenants. So the same capabilities that you had in Sentinel for multiple tenants can be applied in the unified security platform, but using Azure Lighthouse. It's important to mention that today GDAP, with GDAP, you can see Defender data, but it's not supported for Sentinel data. And multi-tenants connectivity and capabilities. So in MTO, if a user account is compromised, can it laterally go over to the other tenants, and how do you protect the data boundaries? It's important to mention that the multi-tenant portal, for example, is just a UI view. We are presenting aggregated view across all tenants, but each tenant is kept separately. We're not mixing anything or any data between tenants. So here as well, the portal is just a UI view. There is no lateral movement between tenants using the MTO portal. And another question that they had, searching capabilities across tenants. So like Neelam showed in the demo for single tenant using the global search at the top, we have the same experience here for tenants. You can use the global search at the top and search entities or other assets across multiple tenants through the search bar. And we got to the end, and I want to summarize a bit. And we introduced you to today the new capabilities for multi-workspace and multi-tenants in the unified security operations platform, where you can view, manage, and act on all of your security solutions in one place. And we added here some of the useful links to get you started. There are several blog posts that will show you everything we covered here today, and also documentations on how to start and how to onboard. So I'm really looking forward to see everyone joins and onboard your multiple workspace to the unified security operations platform and onboard your tenants to the multi-tenant portal.
So before we head into this one, we just have a couple of questions that we captured earlier. Maybe we can go through them now. So we would like to know more in details. Why does Defender data correlates only with primary workspace and not secondary?
So Defender correlates with primary and not secondary to make sure that workspaces data is not synced between or not correlated together. This is aiming to respect the workspace boundaries, because if we're correlating everything together, then we're not keeping the promises of data boundaries between workspaces. And also, like I mentioned, usually organizations are built with one workspace, which is the primary one used by the global SOC, which their analysts usually have access to a tenant level data. It means that they can see MDE, MDI, MDO data, which is tenant level. It's based on all of the tenant and not separated by workspace. And this is why primary workspace can be correlated with it, because usually the analyst can already see this data. So we don't want to overexpose the data to secondary workspaces.
Great. One more question. How will Security Copilot interact with the secondary workspaces?
So it's a good topic, and I want to make sure that I'm giving you the right answer. I can say that Security Copilot should work on multiple workspaces, and everything that they have to offer for one workspace, then they can offer to the secondary workspace as well. So it's the same capabilities they offer. But if you want to learn more, then please approach us, and I will make sure to connect you to the relevant people that can provide more information there.
Okay, great. I think we can proceed. So this is the last slide. We would love to learn more from you, your insights and your use cases. I'm sure we have more questions in the Q&A about the previews and the roadmap items. We have many new features coming up, and if you'd like to learn more about these, please join our security community program using the link mentioned on this slide. We have interactive channels where you can post your questions on the multi-workspace, multi-tenant experiences. Simaya, myself, and the team would love to hear from you. So thank you all for your time today.
Thank you very much.
Great. Thank you all so much. And thank you, Simaya and Neelam, for being our guests and for sharing this great information with our community. Also, thank you to the Q&A team who helped us with answering the questions and providing the resourceful information. To all the listeners still on the line, if you're someone who wishes to aid in the protection of the world from cyber threats and desire to have a say in shaping our strategies, blueprints, and recommendations, then we invite you to become part of our security community. Together, we can make a global impact. So join us at aka.ms/securitycommunity. This is also where you'll be notified about the upcoming webinars, events, and other announcements. For those of you who may have additional questions on the topic we just covered or other product-related questions, please feel free to raise them on our Microsoft Tech Community discussion space at aka.ms/Microsoft Sentinel Community. Thank you all for being part of our community and for joining us on these webinars. We hope to see you next time. Goodbye.